Alright, everybody, deep breath, count it down with me. 1, 2, 3, no way. Yep, here we are again. Just when we thought the circus was over, the world's most desperate cupcake, Mega Karen himself, Mr. Ice Spiceman, has once again made everything about him. And this time, he's announcing his 4th set of concerts in 2025. Back home in Toronto, no less. Sad? Yes. Desperate? Absolutely. And all of it aimed at one man and one man only. King Kendrick Lamar. Drake is still clinging to any last chance to score a single W against Kendrick. And now, with these new plans, he's really out here trying to hype up Toronto with some bargain bin, store-brand version of pop spectacle. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe because today, this one's juicy. And you know what always kills me? The moment rap's spotlight shifts, even for a second. Whether it's something iconic or an absolute mess, there he is. Drake. Scrambling into the frame, begging for the glow like some dude lurking in the corner at a party. It's giving full-time Karen energy, and with each new stunt he pulls, he leans into it harder. Let's be real, Drake's been boxed into these tours he clearly never wanted. Complaining, staging little pity stunts, canceling whenever he can. Out of nearly 40 shows across It's All a Blur, and then the even lamer For All the Dogs tour, we watched one of the weakest touring runs in recent memory. Now, fresh off that nightmare, he's already announcing more shows. Either the deal he's locked in has him performing monthly, or he's just using these lazy cash grab concerts as cover. Because honestly, there's no other way to explain it. Drake literally ended a tour days ago, already looked drained, and now wants to act like this new wave is some huge deal for OVO, for Toronto, for music. Spoiler, it's not. Here's why. It doesn't add up. Kendrick's out here headlining stadiums, delivering electric nights every single stop of the Grand National Tour. Young Thug just embarrassed himself with his record Ooey Scooty, but Kendrick's still dominating, still raising the bar. So, what does Drake do? Announce another round of shows, desperate to claw back even a shred of relevancy. But let's break this down. These aren't US dates, he's avoiding those like the plague. He's not touching LA again, anytime soon. It's not a Super Bowl halftime gig, he'll never be that level. And let's be real. That stage requires artists who actually know their lyrics instead of reading them off a teleprompter. So what's left? The ultimate Karen play. 2 back-to-back shows in October. Yes, October's very own is trying to turn his birthday into a citywide pity party, dragging the OVO community together in Toronto. And why? Because Kendrick came to Drake's very city, packed the Rogers Center twice, and had 60,000 people chanting Not Like Us at max volume. In Drake's own backyard. That alone had to sting. To see his own city crown Kendrick in front of him? Brutal. Sure, there were little pockets of Drake diehards circling outside, but the message was clear. Even in the 6, Kendrick reigns. So Drake finally caves and announces shows in Toronto for the first time in nearly 2 years. But wait, it gets worse. He doesn't even have the guts to step into the Rogers Center, like Kendrick. Instead, he's shrinking the stage, tucking himself inside the Raptors arena. A third of the size. No excuses here. Symbolically, this is Drake bowing down. To Kendrick. To The Weeknd. To anyone who dared to outplay him in his own city. He can talk his talk, throw subs, drop dices on stage, all he wants, but at the end of the day, Kendrick still holds the crown for the biggest shows ever in Toronto, while Drake settles for silver. Again. You know what? If we all had competition like Cupcake Drake, life would be easy. Because I swear, I have never seen somebody fight so hard to compete, while also waving the white flag at every turn. And that's the point here. This OVO birthday bash announcement, this so-called cupcake convention, all it did was make things worse for him and the whole OVO crew. Why? Because deep down, Drake is terrified. Terrified of stadiums. Terrified of real competition. Terrified of what happens if he actually puts his numbers next to Kendrick's. And instead of standing up, he folds. Every time. Kendrick is walking all over him, and he's letting it happen. But somehow, it gets worse. Drake is so afraid of people bailing on him in his own city that he can't even show up solo. Nope. He's not headlining like a real act, not carrying the show on his back. Instead, he pulls the same tired move we've seen over and over again, clinging to someone else's energy just to make himself look better. Now, let's be generous for a second. Maybe he picked the Raptors arena instead of the Blue Jays Stadium because of connections. Drake does have ties to the Raptors organization, so fine. If you want to stretch and give him that benefit of the doubt, go ahead. But with what's next?
Nah.
There's no saving face. This is flat out pathetic. Because here's the truth. Drake is the laziest touring act of his caliber. Maybe of all time. His favorite gimmick? Avoids solo shows at all costs. Too much work. Too much pressure. Competing with Kendrick head-to-head? Forget it. Drake needs a co-headliner. Always. Like the guy who shows up to the group project, does nothing, and still slaps his name on the A. And this time, it's even more shameless. He's not teaming up with a hot rapper to ride their wave while they enjoy a bump from his name.
No.
This time, he's calling in a heavyweight who doesn't even need him. Someone whose demand is bigger than Drake's right now. Enter Vybz Kartel.
Yep.
Vybz's first ever Toronto show. A huge milestone. Anytime his name's on a bill, fans flood the venue. Thousands. And let's be real, between Drake and Vybz, we know whose name is carrying this event. It's not Cupcake. Look at the receipts. Drake's last tour?
A mess. Ticket sales tanked.
Demand collapsed. He canceled shows left and right. Nobody's rushing to pay premium prices for him anymore. But slap Vybz on the lineup? Suddenly, it's a must-see event. So that's the cover-up. Drake lost his own city, and the only way to patch it up is by piggybacking off an artist who still pulls real numbers. The hype, the demand, the energy, it's all Vybz. But you know how this goes. To the casual crowd, it'll look like Drake's the one making magic. And that's the grift. Classic Ice Spiceman turned grift man, keeping the OVO cupcake hive buzzing, feeding them this fantasy that he's got a master plan, that he's 10 steps ahead. But the truth? He's hiding behind someone else's shine. Again, that's why we're here. To peel it all back and make sure the truth gets seen. And if you haven't already, hit that like button, because trust me, we're just getting started. Because, let's be real, trying to throw your own pop out but hiding behind Vybz Kartel? That's like if Kendrick Lamar pulled off his pop out and then, instead of headlining himself or even bringing out an LA rapper, he had Ed Sheeran front and center. Exactly. That's how pathetic Cupcake Karen looks right now. And here's the kicker. Drake might keep the OVO echo chamber happy. Sure, his fans will clap, stay delusional, and act like this move is genius. But in reality, it's laughable. A full-on joke. Especially when you line it up against what Kendrick's doing. Kendrick is hitting places Drake has never touched. Cities, countries, whole regions Drake avoids because he knows he couldn't even pack out a gym there. And that's when you realize, this is almost admirable. Almost. Because Drake is such a walking L, it's almost impressive how he consistently manages to fail at the basics. Think about it. Kendrick's had the head start everywhere, albums, tours, songs, performances. If Drake really wanted to counter, the blueprint is right in front of him. But instead of using that to his advantage, what does he do? He runs to arenas instead of stadiums. Drops flop albums instead of studying what's actually working. It's like watching someone refuse to learn how to win. And don't even try to spin excuses. Oh, it's October, it's his birthday, it's too cold for stadium shows. Miss me with that. The Blue Jays literally play in that same stadium, and if it's playoffs, they'd host the World Series there. Weather's not the problem. Drake is. Because here's the truth. While Kendrick is proving himself as the most powerful rap performer we've ever seen, Drake is begging Vybz Kartel to help him sell shows in his own city. And not even stadiums, arenas that are a third the size. The Ice Spiceman?
Done.
Cupcakes? Burnt to a crisp. At this point, it's obvious. Until Kendrick finishes legs 3 and 4 of the Grand National Tour, Drake is going to keep chasing. He'll keep copying. He'll keep trying to one-up him, but doing it worse every single time. Intentions don't even matter anymore. It's just flop after flop. And now with yet another extension on this endless run of L's, Drake's stumbling through October like a man who doesn't know when to quit. So the question is, will he ever give it up? Will he ever pivot? Honestly, it's probably not. Because the writing's on the wall. Kendrick's next shows are only going to get bigger, better, more legendary. Meanwhile, OVO's next big plan? A cupcake convention in the 6. I'll sit back, laugh, and wait for Kendrick to step back on stage. Rap's MVP, the undisputed league leader, while Drake keeps spinning his wheels. At the end of the day, it's simple. One career is soaring, the other is sinking. And if Cupcake Drake ever admitted defeat, maybe we wouldn't still be stuck here, watching him run headfirst into Kendrick over and over like a cartoon. If we kept score, Kendrick would have hundreds, maybe thousands, of wins. Drake? 0. So really, the only mystery left is this. Which one of these L's will finally be the one to break him? The one that makes Drake sit back, look in the mirror, and realize his biggest mistakes? The one that finally makes him pack it up? But let's not kid ourselves. That's not happening anytime soon. Instead, we're stuck with a rap world that keeps evolving. On Kendrick's side, things only go up. On Drake's, they just keep collapsing. Not just with Cupcake Karen and this sad birthday bash, but also with his little sidekicks, like Young Thug. That disaster of an album? Pure comedy. Honestly, it might be the funniest thing Kendrick's ever had to watch, aside from A Heart Part 6. And trust me, you don't want to miss how Drake's so-called best friend just fumbled their last shot at redemption. So check the suggested video.